Hello and welcome to Challenge 7. This is Enabling AI Reporting Generation. That our team name is Next Generation. This name was picked by the AI which we are using. The team consists of Ben, Stephen, Will, Saeed and James. The challenge was how GTP3 can be utilised to aid the process of producing concise, accurate reports that meet the requirements of individual customers and lead to mutual benefits outcomes for both customers and suppliers. We decided to start with what required to be the end product. We split this into customer and supplier requirements. The customer requirements include accuracy, trustworthiness, simple and to understand, specific requirements for compliance and government, and enable effective decision making to meet their objectives. The supplier requirements reduce the time required to produce reports, enhance repeatability, less dependency on individuals for report writing capabilities, increase the revenue and profitability.
Problem we were trying to solve, we spent some time understanding what was possible within the time available and given the abilities of our team. We developed a flow which naturally broke down into three processes that could be worked on separately within the team before being brought together: data input, report generation, and report publishing. It has required a diverse range of tools including Power Apps, SharePoint, lists, Python, OpenAI, Power Automate, Microsoft Office, and Microsoft Approvals. We developed a Power App to input relevant project data and to manage this data for future use, stored on SharePoint lists. To test the concept, we used guidance from the Scottish Government's Construction Procurement Handbook, which prescribes 9 key pieces of information to provide when developing a project brief. The app was set up to allow the user to input this information along with more general project information such as customer name and project code. The video demonstrates the functionality of this app, starting with creating a new entry and saving the details on SharePoint for later. We can also edit the details of any existing project already in the database. The search function allows us to filter the results prior to making changes and then submitting them for publishing. This ends the user's experience, with the rest of the process intended to be automated until it is ready for review and approval.
Once the form response has been submitted, it pulls in the information from SharePoint, and then feeds through GPT-3 and queries the program to produce an output as shown on the screen. This example shows how a project brief can be generated.
The app you saw earlier triggers the flow which creates the input for GTP3. It will then wait for GTP3 to give the output of text, which is then saved in a SharePoint list for the record of the data. Once it has its inputs, the text and other data is inputted into the Word template. This Word template is then sent for approval and editing by the subject matter expert. Once it is approved, it can then be sent to the customer. You can see a section of the customer output on the screen right now.
To test the concept, we have only produced the initial project brief. The obvious initial next step is to ensure that we are able to produce the entire report based on the report template provided as part of this challenge. To further streamline the process, there is also the opportunity to link the process to an already existing database of projects instead of having to recreate this data. Due to security issues, we were unable to directly link Python and SharePoint lists, meaning we had to download the data from the list as an Excel file and provide as input for GTP3. Forming this link would provide a fully automated process from submitting for publication to receiving the report for review and approval. The inclusion of additional tools and methods would include application of regression analysis on historical project performance data, such as program and cost, meaning this can automatically be included within the feasibility report. To stay focused, we relied on the Construction Procurement Handbook to dictate the inputs to convert into a report. To make this tool more adaptable, we would need to consider how to adjust report requirements to align with differing customer requirements. And lastly, we have also been working towards the production of a feasibility report. There is no reason for this not to expand to any kind of report, as long as we are able to accurately define the purpose and required outcomes of the report and provide the necessary inputs.
To answer question 1, in addition to what was included in the previous slide, we will introduce similarity and sentiment analysis to provide a check to the text before it is inputted into the dataset. We will also look to provide the model with already completed reports to increase its accuracy and to ensure consistency of style. To answer question 2, at the moment, anyone with access to the Power App can edit and delete any entry that exists within the database. Further work should be carried out to control access to the database, and we should also ensure that backups are in place to recover items edited or deleted when they shouldn't have been. We will also look to improve the workflow to ensure that the document is stored in a controlled environment during the review stage, as at the moment this is done via email. And finally, to answer question 3, early on we identified the opportunity to train GPT-3 by providing it with example reports to base its output. Together with providing more refined requirements, we are confident we can improve the suitability of the output. Regardless of this improvement, we would still propose having an in-person check and approve process.
The aim of this challenge was to understand the art of the possible, and we have understood that it is possible. With a lot more work and a lot more time put into this, it's definitely something that can be achieved and put into normal business. We hope you've enjoyed this, and thank you for listening.